Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, conference edition. In this podcast, we spotlight upcoming Cold Fusion conferences and talk to organizers, workshop trainers, and speakers to uncover all the information you and your company needs to decide what conferences and workshops to attend and what sessions you need to see. Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, conference edition. I'm Gavin Pickin, and today I'm joined by Michael Bourne. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Gavin. How are you?
Pretty good. So obviously we're here to talk about your workshop at Into the Box this year, which you're going to be doing on CBElasticSearch. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So this workshop I'm doing, Eric and John are going to help me out just a little bit, but this is a CBElasticSearch workshop. So we're going to kind of show people how to get started with Elasticsearch in a Cold Fusion application. So basically how to set it up, how to configure it, how to send some data, some documents into your Elasticsearch server, and how to search your documents with Elasticsearch, all using the Ortus Solutions module that John's built to integrate with Elasticsearch.
Very cool. Okay, so what do you think this is important?
Elasticsearch is super important if you want to do pretty much any sort of powerful search in your application. We've had a number of ways to search data in the past, but using Elasticsearch, you just get a lot more power for configuration. I've done a good bit with CF search built into CF in the past, and what you get with Elasticsearch is just far better configuration, a good bit more speed, and just a lot more nitty-gritty ability to manage the search, a lot more features built in. It's just a lot more powerful engine all around than the built-in search providers in Cold Fusion.
Very cool. Okay, so obviously you mentioned John and Eric will be helping you with some of the content for this workshop. So why do you think you're the right person to lead this workshop? What's your experience with CBElasticSearch, and why should they listen to you?
So this is kind of cool. I think that I am one of the best people to teach this workshop because last year I had never used Elasticsearch. I went to Into the Box. I saw an Elasticsearch talk by John. And this year I'm an Ortus employee and I'm given the workshop as someone who's worked with Elasticsearch for about 9 months. Worked heavily in it, worked heavily on the module, done a lot of reading of the documentation, a lot of learning, and worked kind of directly with John and Eric to learn Elasticsearch. So I'm kind of at the point where now I'm ready to teach other people.
Yeah, no, I like that approach. A lot of times the people that create something, they assume everybody understands how everything works, and they assume that everything just fits together. And when you're starting out, sometimes there's like big holes in documentation or big holes in understanding. And so if you've just done that, you've just hit all those walls, you should be able to help people through those problems too. So,
Yeah.
And that's how I usually feel with my blog posts. I usually try and pass on that super beginner basic knowledge, because usually there's like the hello world version and then there's the advanced topic, but there's not much in between.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm coming at it from not the level of an expert. I would not call myself an expert, but just in the sense that, hey, I was learning this last year. I was learning this, I've been learning this for the past 6 months, past 9 months, past 12 months. And here's how I learned it, and here's some shortcuts you can use to learn it quicker yourself.
Cool. Sounds good. So as far as this workshop goes, what levels or expectations do you have for the attendees? Should they have an experience with, like you said, CF Search, Solar, or anything else? Or is it sort of a beginning setup?
It's definitely beginner oriented, but we're definitely going to require that you have at least, we're not going to teach you how to program Cold Fusion in this workshop. We're not going to teach you how to do the basic. You're going to come in with at least a semblance of CFML proficiency, and you should probably know what Docker is. We're not really going to get into it, but as far as installing Docker and being able to spin up a Elasticsearch instance, that's something we're going to help you with in the workshop. But it would probably be helpful if you came in with some knowledge of Docker and what it is and what it does. It'll kind of help you stay ahead in a sense.
Okay.
as terms of getting started with Elasticsearch. Other than that, we don't have a whole lot of requirements. We're going to have a base app that all the workshop attendees are going to be able to start with and just get started adding Elasticsearch and search capabilities to that application.
Okay. And for all our workshops, we always send a prerequisite sheet, so that'll have instructions on what they need to download and what they need to have ready. And it's really important too for those who are listening, because if you have, a Docker image that you need to run for Elasticsearch, because that'll obviously save you having to download it and install it. If you do it before you come, it'll save you a lot of time, because Wi-Fi, when everyone's trying to download the same big thing, it's not good. So we want you to be prepared, and we'll email you out beforehand to make sure you know what you need to get ready. But yeah, the expectations for the actual attendee sound pretty reasonable. So sounds good. So you want to give us an overview of what will they learn in this workshop? You kind of gave us a brief rundown, but I mean, from start to scratch, what do you think they're going to walk away with?
Sure. So pretty much they're going to start with a base Coalbox app of something very simple, and they're going to learn how to take that Coalbox application, somewhat data heavy sample application, and they're going to learn how to add search to it using Elasticsearch and CBElasticSearch. So they're going to install, they're going to create, install, set up an Elasticsearch server. They're going to install CBElasticSearch. They're going to learn how to configure the two to talk to each other, because you could have an Elasticsearch server running on any port that you choose. You could have multiple servers running on multiple ports. And we're going to show you how to set those up to talk to each other. And we're going to show you how to add search capabilities to your application just using through CBElasticSearch. So how to create an index, how to feed in some data. We're going to show you how to search it. So a lot of, basically it's taking a Coalbox application from no search to search within a day.
Wow, it's pretty cool. Yeah, Elasticsearch we're using a couple of projects too, and it's really awesome what it can do, and the speed it returns everything is just crazy. It's very fast. So if you guys want performance, this is the way you want to go. And I think Eric mentioned in the podcast we did yesterday about, with the CBElasticSearch, pretty much if you're doing any type of light searches, you pretty much can benefit from switching over to CBElasticSearch. So
yes. Coming from MySQL world, I can tell you there is absolutely no comparison. you do a like in MySQL. Depends how many records you have, but you do a like, a like or a match in Elasticsearch, you're going to get much quicker results, much more intelligent results, and you can even look into why those particular records were returned as opposed to something else. What's the ranking here?
Yeah, that's a good question. Powerful. So obviously, other than just getting a list of records back, what type of metadata do we get back? And I think it might be interesting for people to know that it's not just giving you back a list of records, but there's metadata about those records too. So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, I know that one of the super handy things that Elasticsearch returns by default with every search is pagination data. So in MySQL or pretty much any database, you've got to query that separately. So you learn how to, you get used to doing account query with every query. You're essentially doubling your queries. But with Elasticsearch, it's turned by default, so it's super easy to do. To do pagination or just to show that, hey, there's more pages and so forth. But as far as other metadata about each item, you kind of get a score and a ranking for each item. So you see the items, you usually sort them by essentially search relevance, essentially, and you get those kind of metadata back as well.
Cool. So, it sounds like obviously you're getting a lot of functionality increase as well as just the performance. So, it's definitely a very cool thing, and I wish I had more time to play with it. Usually I'm building the other parts of the app, and Eric is doing that, but it's, something, like I said, I wish I could go to this workshop because I'd like to learn all the stuff here too. So what are you looking forward to most about the workshop? What are your favorite parts?
I think for me, I'd kind of like to pass on that aha moment that I had when using Elasticsearch and being like, I just realizing how easy it is to get started with Elasticsearch. I wrote a blog post about it somewhere around January, December. Just the fact that you can go from essentially no search to search this quickly. It was surprising to me. Even having worked with Elasticsearch for a while, actually setting it up in a new application was definitely pleasantly surprised at just how well it worked, how quickly, essentially, how easy it was to set up. So that's what I kind of like to pass on in this workshop. My favorite part will probably just be having people realize that it's attainable, it's doable, it's simple. It's not, you don't have to be a genius to set it up. I'm not a genius. So definitely excited to pass on that part.
Very cool. So, okay. Well, thanks very much for the information, Michael. Again, for everyone listening, this is a one-day workshop. We're doing it Into the Box in May. And this year in 2020, it's going to be one of 2 days of workshops. So CBElasticSearch is on one day. So if you're going to do 2 days of workshops, you can pick one of the other one-day workshops on one day, and then you take Michael's on the other day, and you can register at intothebox.org. So a lot of great workshops, and like I said, I wish if I wasn't teaching one, I'd be attending this one because I need to get up to speed on CBElasticSearch myself. So sounds really good, and we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Gavin.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for your time, Michael, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Have a good one, everyone. Thank you.
Take care.
Show notes for this episode can be found on conference.modernizeordie.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have a link to YouTube playlist to find more videos just like this. Music from this podcast are used under a royalty-free license from sound.com and bluetreeaudio.com.